Welcome. Learn English through short stories. Who moved my cheese? Cheese is a metaphor for what we want to have in life, whether it is a job, a relationship, money, a big house, freedom, health, recognition, spiritual peace, or even an activity like jogging or golf. Each of us has our own idea of what cheese is, and we pursue it because we believe it makes us happy. If we get it, we often become attached to it. Once, long ago, there lived four little characters who ran through a maze looking for cheese to nourish them and make them happy. Two were mice named Sniff and Scurry, and two were little people named Hem and Haw. Every morning, the mice and the little people dressed in their running gear and headed over to Cheese Station C, where they found their own kind of cheese. It was a large store of cheese that Hem and Haw eventually moved their homes to be closer to it and build a social life around it. To make themselves feel more at home, Hem and Haw decorated the walls with sayings. One read, "Having cheese makes happy." One morning, Sniff and Scurry arrived at Cheese Station C and discovered there was no cheese. They weren't surprised, since they had noticed the supply of cheese had been getting smaller every day. They were prepared for the inevitable and knew instinctively what to do. They were quickly off in search of new cheese. Later that same day, Hem and Haw arrived. "What? No cheese? Who moved my cheese? It's not fair," Hem yelled. They went home that night hungry and discouraged. But before they left, Haw wrote on the wall, "The more important your cheese is to you, the more you want to hold on to it." The next day, Hem and Haw left their homes and returned to Cheese Station C. But the situation hadn't changed. Haw asked, "Where are Sniff and Scurry? Do you think they know something we don't?" Hem scoffed. "What would they know? They are just simple mice. They just respond to what happens. We are little people. We are smarter." Hall suggested maybe we should stop analyzing the situation so much and just get go and find some new cheese. Hall decided to leave Cheese Station C, while Hall was more comfortable staying in the cheeseless Station C. Hem announced, "It's maze time," and wrote, "If you do not change, you can become extinct." Meanwhile, Sniff and Scurry went further into the maze until they found Cheese Station N. They found what they had been looking for, a great supply of new cheese. It was the biggest store of cheese the mice had ever seen. Haw, on the other hand, became more anxious and wondered if he really wanted to go out into the maze. He wrote a saying on the wall ahead of him and stared at it for some time. And this is what he wrote. "What would you do if you weren't afraid?" Afraid? Ho now realized that the change probably would not have taken him by surprise if he had been watching what was happening all along and if he had anticipated change. He stopped for rest and wrote on the wall of the maze, "Smell the cheese often so you know when it is getting old." Who wondered if Hen had moved on or if he was still paralyzed by his own fears. Then, Ho remembered the times when he had felt his best in the maze. It was when he was moving along and he wrote. A new movement in a new direction helps you find new cheese. As Ho started running down the dark corridor, he began to smile. Ho didn't realize it yet, but he was discovering what nourished his soul. He was letting go and trusting what lay ahead for him, even though he did not know exactly what it was. To his surprise, Ho started to enjoy himself more and more. He stopped to write again on the wall. When you move beyond your fear, you feel free. To make things even better, Ho started to paint a picture in his mind again. He saw himself in a great realistic detail, sitting in the middle of a pile of all his favorite cheeses. From cheddar to brie, he saw himself eating the many kinds of cheese he liked, and he enjoyed what he saw. The more clearly he saw the image of himself enjoying the new cheese, the more real and believable it became. And he wrote, imagining myself enjoying new cheese even before I find it leads me find it. Ho wondered why he had always thought that a change would lead to something worse. Now he realized that change could lead to something better. Then he raced through the maze with greater strength and agility until he found bits of new cheese. He entered the cheese station, but it was empty. Someone had already been there. He stopped and wrote on the wall. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you find new cheese, new cheese. Who made his way back to Cheese Station C to offer him bits of new cheese but was turned down. Hem wanted his own cheese back. Ho just shook his head in disappointment, but this does not stop him from finding new cheese. He smiled as he realized it is safer to search the maze than remain in a cheeseless situation. Ho realized again that what you are afraid of is never as bad as what you imagine. The fear you let build up in your mind is worse than the situation that exists. He realizes it was natural for change to continually occur, whether you expect it or not. The change could surprise you only if you didn't expect it and weren't looking for it. When he realized he had changed his beliefs, he paused to write on the wall. Old beliefs do not lead you to new cheese. Hall now realized that his new beliefs were encouraging him to behave in a new way. He was behaving differently from the way he had when he had kept returning to the same cheeseless station. It all depends on what you choose to believe. He wrote again on the wall. When you see that you can find and enjoy new cheese, you change course. Ho just hoped that he was heading in the right direction. He thought about the possibility that Hem would read the handwriting on the wall and find his way. He wrote on the wall what he had been thinking about for some time. Noticing small changes early helps you adapt to the bigger changes that are to come. That are to come. He continued through the maze with greater strength and speed. He proceeded along a corridor that was new to him, rounded a corner, and found a new cheese at Cheese Station N, where he saw the greatest supply of cheese he had ever seen. Sniff and Scurry welcomed him. Hooray for change! Hooray for change! Ho wrote down a summary of what he had learned on the largest wall of Cheese Station N and smiled as he looked at what he had learned. And this is what he wrote. Move with the cheese and enjoy it.